I have the distinguished honor of presenting the President of the United States.
Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, members of the Senate, of the House of Representatives, yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
I registered for the draft on the 16th of October, 1940, and I didn't want to be drafted and go into the infantry, so I enlisted in the Air Corps for Hawaii. I thought that would be a 3-year vacation in Hawaii. We went on the Leonard Wood from Charleston down through the canal up to San Francisco. And we had a few days there, and then we boarded the San Miguel to go to Hawaii. And they kept calling for people to go to different units, and finally I found there was an opening in the kitchen for a butcher, so I applied for that and was accepted. I wanted to get in on the flight line. I wanted to get into the real Air Corps. I didn't want to be a butcher, but that was better than what I was doing on a fatigue detail. What I envisioned was palm trees and hula girls and pineapples. Well, but it didn't turn out that way.
The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
I had gone down to the mess hall, and I was looking at the menu to see what to take out of the freezer to cut that night when I heard the first plane dive, and I thought it was one of our own. When the first bomb went off, I thought he had crashed. But when the second bomb went off, I said, well, we didn't have 2 planes to crash. And I opened the screen of the window and looked out, and about that time, the third bomb went off. And I could see all the smoke, and I thought, well, this is for real. And so I started out the back of the mess hall running for cover, because our mess hall was just about 2 blocks from the flight line, and it seemed that they were coming right up the flight line. Our planes were parked on the tarmac, wingtip to wingtip, made a good target for the Japanese. 95% of the planes were just ruined. Bulldozer just scraped them over off the tarmac. There was a row of eucalyptus trees that they had to dive over to make their strafing run. And that's where I ended up, around these trees. The planes had started their strafing, and they were low enough, and they had the canopies open, and you could see the grin on their face. They were that low. I was scared. The only thing I knew to do was to run, to try to get away from the flight line. When the attack was over, I got back to on my duty as a butcher. I had my rifle in arm's reach anytime I was working. I had been in the service about 13 months, and I'd never fired a weapon. They didn't think that the Air Force would be subject to ground training. From the time of Pearl Harbor until I left, things had quieted down a little. We knew we were in war and knew that were subject to being shipped out, but it kind of quieted down. We went to San Francisco, and then we went down to Santa Ana. I was classified for pilot training, and I wasn't advancing as fast as they thought I should, so I was eliminated. So then I went back to Santa Ana and was reclassified as a bombardier. When I graduated from a bombardier school, I was commissioned Air Corps Reserve, and I didn't leave the States till May of '45. I was assigned as a bombardier navigator on a crew on a B-25 to go to India. They'd flown the last combat mission the week that I arrived in India. We were getting ready to go down in the Pacific, which we would have been in the invasion of Japan. The word got out right quick that Japan had surrendered. I had enough points to come back home, but before my orders caught up with me, I was sent into China in the C-46s. Our mission in China was to haul the Chinese nationalists to try to head off the communists.
Off we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high.
My total service time, active and reserve, was 36 years, 6 months, and 12 days. When I retired from the military, I was a lieutenant colonel. That is, I am a lieutenant colonel retired. There was an interesting fact about the Air Force song, that it started out as Army Air Corps. Nothing can stop the Army Air Corps. So originally it was Army Air Corps. The song was written back during World War II. It went from the Army Air Corps to the Army Air Force to the Air Force. So I was a member during all that time.
But always will our whole nation remember the character of the onslaught against us.
I guess I felt it was my duty to do it. Other people were doing it, and I thought I should do it. My first wife, I was stationed in Albuquerque, and she was with TWA in Albuquerque, and we got married in February of 1944. Well, it was a wartime marriage. People said it wouldn't last. Well, it didn't last but 46 years. We were on a cruise to Alaska, and she had a heart attack and died. After she died, one of her classmates' husband died. I'd known her for several years, and we got married. And we were married about 13 years, and she had some kind of an attack, hemorrhage, and died. So now I've been single since 2008. Betty and I had 4 children, 3 sons and 1 daughter. The first son was a Green Beret. The second son, he was commissioned regular. The third son went to West Point and he retired. The fourth child was a daughter. She's a pharmacist and lives in Atlanta. I have 7 grandchildren, 4 great-grandchildren. Then I have 2 stepdaughters, 2 step-grandchildren, and 3 step-great-grandchildren. We still have our unit, the Pearl Harbor Survivors Association, and there are just 3 of us survivors that attend those meetings. I know someone was taking care of me. Someone had something else for me to do with my life. I think we should just visit the national cemeteries and see all the hospitals, the VA hospitals, and see what the cost of living in a free world is, and how important it is for us to maintain our freedom.
No matter how long it may take us to overcome this premeditated invasion, the American people in their righteous might will win through to absolute victory.